Hello, welcome to Fox Sports Lab, AFL, here with the Chief, round 12. Chief, as always, prepare yourself for the tally on tips. Still 7 ahead.
Early winner, late loser, Dicko.
That's fair call. I'm just waiting for myself to crumble. About this time last year, I reckon you had me by 3 or 4 and then you won by about 15. So I do fall away, so you're still within a chance. Let's go Thursday night. You always do Thursday night, so you got your eyes right on this one. So Port Adelaide and Carlton. So Port got it done against North pretty easily. Took about a half a footy, though, for him to click in. And the outsiders in this one are Carlton. Before I give you my tip, I want to hear where you're at with this game.
Well, I don't think Port are going as well as they could, and there's doubt over Connor Rosie, so that's always an issue. But I'm not sure Carlton are where we thought they would be sort of 6 weeks into the season. So they've had a few issues of their own. They've got plenty of injuries. Do you know what swayed me with my tip in this game, Diggo, was basically the record at the Adelaide Oval, where Carlton have never beaten Port Adelaide.
Right.
So okay. I'm sticking with it, and I'm saying Port Adelaide will win this one.
Okay. Well, considering they haven't beaten them at Adelaide Oval, I'm tipping Carlton.
Yes. There's one.
Here's your chance.
They'll probably play really well and break the run.
Well, they're actually not too dissimilar through the middle of the ground. So Port Adelaide converting a clearance and into a scoreboard pressure, number one. And then guess who's number two?
Yeah, it's a massive midfield battle, isn't it?
Correct. Carlton.
Massive.
So I'm leaning with Carlton, so I'm glad we disagree on the first game. Next one's going to be an interesting one. Collingwood and Western Bulldogs. Collingwood, not sure. I won't say robbed. It was a bit of a stale feeling. You were on Freo. I was on Collingwood, so I know who we were cheering for.
I was on Freo 1-12 in my big call. So that last kick could have delivered.
We'll land one of those soon enough. But they got their mojo back, Collingwood. So their ball movement's back to what it should be. But the doggies, though, you just can't discount the forward line up there and what their ability is to kick goals.
Yeah, finding a little bit the Dogs. They needed to, but it took me a while to learn my lesson with Collingwood. I know they lost their first 3, but then having that win before Anzac Day, and they haven't been beaten since. So I just can't tip against Collingwood. Got to go with the Pies. They find a way to get results, even though there's a couple of draws chucked in there. They haven't been beaten for quite some time.
It's interesting, though, last week everyone jumped on Freo as soon as Jordan De Goey went out, but it just goes to show you what sort of team they are and the way they move the footy. So they're back and they've certainly got their mojo. I'm going Collingwood as well. Melbourne and Freo. So Melbourne, they were sort of up and down a little bit, but in terms of Freo, they'd be disappointed of last week. But Tom McDonald, so started forward, now he's gone back. He's top 4 in the league for intercept mark. So playing that role down there, no lever last week. But they just keep getting it done.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of Freo, honestly. They can play some really good football and then they can be depressing when you watch them sometimes, quite frankly. So D's, we've seen, they're good. Trouble is they can throw in some ordinary performances too. Who would have thought they'd go to Perth and lose to West Coast? I mean, that was extraordinary. But I think the D's might win this one.
Yeah, I'm with the D's on this one too. So Hawthorn, wow. Have a look at their record against Brisbane, 5-0. So they're up against Adelaide MCG. So that game last week was at Marvel and they got it done. This one, this is a toss of the coin where Hawthorn's
It is. I mean, Adelaide are favourites, but if you have a look at recent results between these two, there's been some close games. And there's been wins away, wins at home for both of them. So I think it's going to be a really, really tough game. Adelaide there's going to be some results that haunt them as they probably miss out on the 8 that Crows. But I think the Hawks are playing some really consistent competitive footy. And you know what? I'm going to go with the Hawks at home. I like the way they're approaching the contest. I like what they're putting down, and they're good enough for me. So you can take your Crows and move on.
I'll see your Hawks and I'll raise you another one to the
Come
Hawks. Well, you can't go past their winning 4. So they could have been 5-0 in terms of their form right now. So they're not playing like a bottom 4 team, bottom 5 team. Adelaide, at the MCG, you got to go with the Hawks. Sam Mitchell's got them flying. Gold Coast, Essendon one. Gold Coast at home. Dimmer, they're going to be hard to beat. They show what they did up north over a couple of weeks, so they can certainly punish some teams like they did Geelong. But Essendon, no one had them in the top 4 other than me at Fox Footy, so there's my little spook for the day.
Did you have them in your top 4 pre-season?
I did. I had them in the top 4. So
It's almost like you know
I
something.
had St Kilda dropping to the bottom 4, and I had Essendon getting into the top 4. So, hey, geez, I'm on fire at the
Look
moment.
at you tooting your own horn. Give it a blow, dude.
But it is an interesting one because, Scotty's got them going well. They're
Yep.
away from home, though, but it's always a tough assignment at Gold Coast. Where are you leaning?
Gold Coast favourites because of the home ground advantage. Their midfield got belted by the Blues last week, so they're going to be angry. But you know what? It's taken me a long time to accept how the Bombers are playing. That midfield led by Zach Merritt, they're doing some brilliant things. Jake Stringer's playing some good, consistent footy up forward. I'm actually, and this pains me to say it because you know how much I hate Essendon, I'm going for the Bombers.
Yes, I'm going for the Bombers as well. And I put my tips in to Jolly, the producer, before, so I'm not just riding on this to protect the lead by any stretch. So I think they're going well enough to beat Gold Coast up there. This next game. So we've got West Coast, St Kilda. St Kilda under the pump. There's a pump and they're under it. West Coast at home, they over the last probably 6 weeks have just looked hard to beat. So I'm going with West Coast. I'm going to open the shoulders up here. I know you're looking for the Saints to turn it around, but could be a Harley Reid moment at home again.
Can you show me your pump again?
There's the pump, and they're under it.
Okay, that's an interesting pump.
A black pump.
Look, St Kilda are going terribly. Having said that, West Coast were dreadful last week. It's a really tough game. But what I do know is West Coast are a different team now at home, and all of a sudden they're drawing big crowds again, and it's lifting the players. And we know what sort of presence Harley Reid is. They seem to have adopted him as the leader of the team, and he's only 10 games into a career. It's extraordinary. I've done too many of the Saints games in recent weeks to tumble in again. Until I see something from Rossi's boys, I cannot for the life of me tip them. So I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going for West Coast to win another game.
What do you mean you can't? I'm going for West Coast as well. I think St Kilda supporters in a competitive tipping competition would be tipping West Coast as well. There's nothing to like at the Saints right now. Geelong 4 in a row they've lost, so let's go through this tip really quick. They've got Richmond injury smashed in terms of where they're at. Geelong get it done and get back on the winners list?
Yeah, what do you do when you've lost 4 in a row? Play the Tigers. That'll get you 4 points. That's just a given.
All right, so I'm with you as well on that one, Geelong. Now, big call time. So we put them together. I tell you what, we have been so close and we've nailed a couple along the way. I'm going to kick it off. Jason Horne-Francis. So Thursday night footy, Carlton, put him in the midfield. He's just a big moment player now. I love it. I just saw last week, right there on the boundary line in Hobart, he's just a special player. So I'm going 30 plus $5. So I'm bringing the value in the big call. What's your big call?
You're having a bob each way. So you're tipping Carlton, but you're calling Jason Horne-Francis to tear it up.
I want him to fill his boots, and then I want Carlton to win.
I'm on the Harley train. Harley Reid. Now, averages 15 possessions away from home.
Yep.
19 possessions at home. They're not huge numbers, but he has a big impact. But I think in front of the local crowd, he's going to have 20-plus possessions and kick a goal because we know he loves to find the big sticks as well. So I think that's going to make it a decent multi if we put our 2 big calls together, Diggo.
Mate, you're going to get $15+. I'm sure the traders will look after us on that one, but I actually like that. It gives us a good watch. Pretty much the bookends of round 12. Chief, thanks for your time. Look forward to catching up again next week.
Oh, I can't wait.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.